Greenwood's kind of the perfect example of what's happening in Seattle these days, with a lot of development, rising housing prices, and people being forced to be really creative. I'm hanging out at Coffeeholic House for a little bit now, answering emails and writing this video, but then I have to show a townhouse to a client, and then I want to show all of you some of this creative housing that's popping up all over the place. Should probably get out of this alley where people are looking at me kind of weirdly. It's the beginning of the month, so we have some new updated housing data, and City of Seattle just hit $1 million exactly. That's the median home price in the city. $1 million to buy a house. It's been a kind of interesting spring market. We had kind of a strange slump over the past month with prices dropping last month, but this month it's increased and it seems like we're back at it. That's very unseasonable. Usually in the spring it would be kind of crazy right now with a lot of demand and a lot of houses hitting the market, but we're not totally seeing that. Just through my business at a home in Seattle, I've had less people reaching out to me over the past month or so, which has given me time to do some yard work, which has been nice because it's been sorely neglected. I planted all this moss, which will eventually fill out and cover this whole area. I've got a little fern forest coming in here, and this is going to be a heather field, which should look really pretty when they all grow into each other. Over here, I've been spending the past couple weeks building a trellis fence. I'm going to put some clematis up here for a bit of vining color. Hopefully we'll provide some privacy for the bathroom right here. People seem to be nervous about the market, and rightfully so, with mortgage rates kind of fluctuating all over the place and Congress dealing with this debt ceiling fiasco. It's kind of crazy out there. But it does seem to be picking up. I've had a lot of new client consults over the past couple weeks. We had 2 houses get under contract in the last 2 weeks, and I had a listing presentation yesterday, so my weekends are starting to fill up with open houses and touring through the city with people. I really like these houses. I think they're cool. They have a nice, kind of Scandinavian, Japanese, what's that style where they burn the siding? I can't remember what it's called. I can't get in right now because there's a painting crew, so I'm probably gonna have to come back maybe tomorrow and check it out. So everyone's familiar with those townhouses, but something like this is kind of new. Here, I'll kind of situate you. We've got like an old original house right here, and then this is attached, so this would be an additional dwelling unit or an attached additional dwelling unit. And then this one right here is a dadu. So you see we have 3 houses on one lot, and then they've been condoized. So you hire an attorney and you create a condo of 3 units. And these are all over the place now. I'm seeing a ton of them being built. You can see it's pretty nice. Like the living space here is fairly wide. We have kind of like a traditional house layout with bedrooms upstairs and then living area downstairs. You go upstairs, there's 2 good sized bedrooms. We've got one here with vaulted ceilings. That's nice. And then a shared bathroom with nice finishes. I like it. I think the biggest bit of news, housing news this month, is that the state pretty much just abolished all single-family housing. So this is a new law that allows up to 4 units on a property. So we're gonna see a lot more duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, probably a lot more places like this over the next couple years as developers, kind of experiment and think about how to be more flexible and creative with housing. So I have an interview set up for later this month with the City of Seattle Planning Department, and I'm gonna make a video all about this new law, and I'm very excited about it. I think it's gonna change the face of housing and affordability in Washington State, so stay tuned for that. So if you're looking for a standardized, easy way to build a backyard cottage, My Cabin is a great resource. I've been following them for a little while, and just go to mycabin.com and check them out.
So Home in Seattle is throwing a party at Flatstick in a couple weeks, and if you're listening to this, you're invited. But our team member Emily, she really is good for us to have around. She's making us dress in theme for this, so we're here for some golf attire today, and needless to say, we're a little out of our comfort zone, but thanks, Emily. So I'm thinking like maybe a sweater vest with a white collared shirt underneath, or maybe like a pastel polo of some sort, and then what, like khakis? Is that what golfers wear? None of this is in my current wardrobe, so I'm gonna see what I can find here. You don't have to dress like this to come to our party. There's gonna be more information coming out, and you're invited. You can wear your normal clothes, or get a little golf style.
We've been doing a lot of very adult things recently, and it's kind of exhausting. We just got all of our estate info and wills signed around. And while it was cool to go down to downtown Seattle to our attorney's high-rise office and sign all the paperwork, it feels like a lot of responsibility. We've had a couple really good years business-wise. I'm now a managing broker with a small team of other realtors, and we're even in the top 5% of realtors in Seattle, so that's very cool and very humbling, so thank you. I've also been thinking a lot about expanding the business and some of the services that are offered at a home in Seattle to include rentals, which we've been slowly kind of adding that in, helping people find a home, that is. And if you're looking for that, just let me know and I'll put you in touch with the team member that's in charge of that. Also, property management. I think it'd be a really good service to offer to people. I've helped a lot of people buy their first house. Often, you know, like a new construction townhouse that doesn't have much maintenance to be a great rental. A lot of people want to hold on to that place when they do move up, and being able to manage that and lease it and be in charge of maintenance, I think would just be a really great service to offer. And then that kind of goes into having a handyman on staff. I think it would be really cool. So, you know, if you're handy, if you know anybody that's handy, that's looking for work, send me a message. I want to chat with you. Let's look at some data down in, So let's round this out and look at some data. Let's down in my, let's head down to my office and look at some data. I've started narrowing my data sets down to, include just Seattle proper, which over the pandemic, I was looking at the greater Seattle area because everybody was moving out of the city. The market was really expanding and we were seeing prices go up in the suburbs quite a bit. But I think that the suburban flea is over now. I was just checking out Linwood recently and the price is down to 810,000 from 930 a year ago. That's a huge decrease. I'm seeing a lot of people who last year were considering looking further out from the city, now coming back and being like, okay, I want to be close to Green Lake. I want to be close to the action. I want to be in the middle of things. Okay, so I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. This is median sales price here. You can see that we're right at the $1 million mark, which is less than we were a year ago, but we are starting to come up from the low point, which was in, that was about January of this year. Okay, so here's a graph of supply versus demand. You can see that, supply came up quite a bit over the winter time. The peak here is like October of last year, and then it just kind of crashed over the winter. And, we didn't have a whole lot of inventory, but we also didn't have a whole lot of demand. And as we've been coming up into the spring market, it's been neck and neck. We still have more supply than there is demand, so we're still in a bit of a buyer's market. It kind of depends on what type of housing you're looking at. There's a lot less inventory for single-family homes than there are townhouses right now, but supply and demand is kind of neck and neck right now. I'm just checking out this townhouse in West Seattle before submitting an offer. I have a client that looked at it. We've been working on the paperwork all weekend together, but I wanted to get my eyes on it before sending it over. I've worked with this builder before and I really like how they do things. This is like a flex space on the ground floor. I've seen a lot of people use it as commercial spaces or, rent it out or just use it as an office even. Then there's another entrance here and we can go upstairs to the living room and kitchen. I really like this place. Nice design, nice layout, and we are on a busy road, but it's not too bad and it feels very, like city chic up here. Okay, and the rooftop deck has a spectacular view. I mean, we've got the city over there. We've got the water over there. And just next door, dogs. This is pretty fun. I like it a lot here. Okay, so if you're thinking about making a home in Seattle, send me a message or just stay tuned for more housing and design content from my home in Seattle. Bye.